Welcome to the seventh dispensation. Today we're going to be reading from the Divine Revelation, the Alpha Quran, which means the criterion, and the chapter. Well, I don't know the chapter, but we're going to get back into this holy book. And I want to say this before I begin, right? You got a lot of people, man, that want to be me so bad. You know, and it's sad because they are really in a position like of power. You know, it's a lot of people in positions of power that want to be me. You know what I'm saying? And it's because out of all the years that they have been in power, they have been a failure, a complete failure. They haven't achieved not one thing. So they see me with my book, and all of a sudden they want to make a book. And all of a sudden they want to start quoting the name of my book. You know what I'm saying? And all this stuff, man, and it's ridiculous. Because if you this and that, what I'm doing shouldn't even matter to you. It shouldn't even like do what you doing. I'm not sitting here copying you or watching you or caring nothing about what you doing, man. Stop trying to do what I'm doing. Get the fuck out my way. You in my way, man. Get the fuck out my way. Now we're gonna get back into this book, the Alpha Quran. And the book says this. Caucasians had already stolen our culture and were calling themselves Jews or the children of God. But it was not until after 70 AD that they went into exile, spreading throughout Europe from which they came. These European Jews later returned to Palestine in 1948. In 367 AD, Athanasius, Bishop of Alexandria, listed the 27 books of the New Testament as the doctrine of piety, which were declared canonical in the 4th century. So now we talking about the New Testament, the Bible's New Testament. So it says that the 27 books of the New Testament became canon and was listed as a doctrine of piety in 367 AD by Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria. The original people have always lived in Africa, Arabia, and what they now call Palestine. But Europeans stole our history and misidentified us so that they could rob us of our inheritance, our land, and our culture. The ancient religious traditions of Africa were based on monotheistic theological thought. And this knowledge dates back farther than the so-called Hebrew wisdom. The Greeks conquered Egypt and then proliferated it above the other parts of Africa in order to set themselves up as the founders of civilization. The Asiatic man and the true people of God were a dark-skinned people. The Jews of Spain and Portugal got rich off of enslaving and murdering the indigenous people of the earth. And if we study history, we will find that Black people have been excluded from the very origins of which human life began. We must restrain from following Jewish fables that aren't completely true. And we must not listen to the command of those who turn away from truth. When God commanded Jacob to take on the name Israel, it signified that Jacob had reached a turning point in his life. Jacob was a chief deceiver, a devil, but God preserved his life. In fact, Jacob wrestled with God all night, and even though God had told him that his day had arrived, he still refused to let God go until God blessed him and gave him a new name, which signified a change in stature. Now, I just want to say something. Now, if you listen to what's being taught in this book, The Alpha Quran, and it's a story that's coming from the Bible, that Jacob wrestled with God and grabbed God and held God until God blessed him. So that means that Jacob beat God up and made him bless him. God couldn't even get free from Jacob. But this is the God y'all say is a spook, a spirit. But it sounds like a story of two men wrestling to me. Now we're going to get back into this book. This is a message for the universe, for all the chosen ones. The name that God gave Jacob was Israel, which means he who strives with God. You so-called Jews must begin to strive with God, or otherwise you are unfit to be called Israel. The Jewish people are not the chosen people of God in reality. God says some people say that they are Jews, but are not. I know that their words are evil. Their worship is satanic. Satan has created a religion for you. And he led you astray from the path, and he led you astray from the path of God. Satan is anyone who opposes the exercising of our God-like qualities. Israel and Jews are not the same people. See, the Jews, when you read in the Bible and it's talk about the people who call themselves Jews are not the real Jews, that's a translation from Europeans when they was writing the Bible. What it really says is that the people who call themselves Jews are not the Israelites. See, the Israelites are the people who were allowed to live in the land of Palestine and in Jerusalem with us. We allowed them to live with us. The people who call themselves Jews are Samaritans who conquered Judah.